Welcome to the course Ancient Indian Management. In this unit, we will discuss Ancient Indian Economics. We are going to discuss two kinds of economics. First, given by Kautilya, and second, more ancient, that is Mahavira's economics. Chanakya, the great economist, worked as a professor at the University of Takshila and started the subject economics at the university. Chanakya is also known as Kautilya or Vishnugupta. Radhakrishnan Pillai writes in his book Corporate Chanakya about Kautilya. He calls him a kingmaker. He opines that Chanakya was a political thinker. He was the first to visualize the concept of a nation for the first time in human history. During his time, India was split into various kingdoms. He brought them all together under one central governance, thus creating a nation called Aryavarta, which later became India. Before Kautilya, economic ideas were also found scattered in the religious and philosophic and law and political books, but Kautilya announced economics as a separate discipline in his book, Kautilya's Arthashastra. Chanakya talks about wealth generation less and wealth distribution more. His basic philosophy is that true nature or the righteousness is the root cause of joy or bliss, and this we can see when he says, Sukhasya Moolam Dharmam. Then he creates a chain, saying that the artha, wealth or money is the root cause of dharma, meaning artha supports dharma. And from the next link of the chain, we start getting his economic ideas when he says arthasya moolam rajyam, meaning rajya, the state, is the root of artha, meaning all the income of the king comes from the state or the subject of the state. The chain does not end here. He adds rajyasya moolam indriya jaya, meaning you can become a king of the state only if you have control over your sensory organs. In the later sutras, we get more economic ideas in terms of defining wealth and who has the power to possess the wealth. He says, Nyayagato Artha, the money ethically earned is wealth. And then he gives a statement, Tadviparito Arthabhas. That means money earned through means opposite to this is just a mirage. This is not actual wealth. And he also tells the qualities of the person who can possess this wealth. He says the only possessor of the artha can be the person who does not pollute it or misuses it, or he is threatened that he will run into losses. He says, Artha Dushikam Shri Parityajati. While defining Kama also, Dharma and Artha play their role. He says that Yo Dharmartho na pidayati sa Kamaha. The Dharma and the Artha that does not harm anyone is the Kama. Tadviparit Kama Bhasaha. Any Kama through opposite means is not the actual Kama. Tadviparito is Anarth Sevi. The one who acts against the above said Dharma and Artha is doing Anartha. Anartha meaning useless tasks. Kautilya gave us a sustainable taxation system. He used to say, the king must collect taxes like a honeybee, enough to sustain but not too much to destroy. According to him, economy works well with efficient resource management, efficient administration, fair judicial system, and people in position to be men of integrity and capability. Chanakya gave us 7 pillars of business in Arthashastra. First was the king, the leader, the visionary. Then the ministers, the managers, who were the actual men in action. Then the whole country. The whole country was your market. The fortified city, head office, the control tower. Then the treasury, the finance, which is an important resource. And he also says that financial hub should be strong and well managed. Then the army, your team, those who are ready to fight for the organization. These people in the organization can be salesmen, accountant, or the peon. All of them add to the team. Then he says the ally, meaning either your friends, well-wishers, or consultants. For this course, we shall discuss the listed economic concepts given by Chanakya like wealth, business communication, labor and labor discipline, trade, values, role of public and private sector, public finance, taxation, consumption and production, etc. The concept of wealth given by Kautilya is very simple. For Kautilya, wealth included money, commodity, the acquired wealth, public or private property, precious metals, the accumulated wealth, negotiable and transferability of the power of appropriation, He also included labor and forest produce in the wealth. But he says, Nahi dhanya samohi artha. There is no other wealth as valuable as dhanya, the food items. He also gave us a relationship between wealth and ethics. He advocated the wealth to be accumulated through ethical sources only. He believed that the unethical financial resources may stay with you for 10 years, but in the 11th year, this wealth will take the principal amount also with it and leave the possessor. When he says, Anyayoparjit dravyam dashvarshani tishtati prapte ekadashe varshe samulam cha vinishyati. I have already discussed the meaning of this verse with you. Then he says, Vritti moolam arthalabha, meaning that if you want to be prosperous, then you should be ethical. And he also says, Arthamulo dharmakamo, means root of the artha is righteousness, action. Arthamulam karyam, meaning all your actions, all your righteous actions will bring money, will bring wealth. Thus, Kautilya justifies wealth, which is earned through proper means. Second is business communication, which is named as Varta in his text. Varta is considered to be such a thing which was most essential for economic stability. And he said it is necessary for the king to know about the essentials of the national economy, and with the help of this information, he can discharge his functions successfully as a ruler. And he also says, Balad apapyarth jatam shriniya, meaning if the communication is worth, then you should go to the child also and listen to him. Third is labor. When Chanakya says, Akriter niyatakshut, he says that the person who does not work, he dies of hunger. He did not believe in a non-effort approach. He does not discuss the human and human labor alone, but also discusses the issues related to human labor, which gives us the economics of HR. Kautilya has dealt with the methods for the regulation of wages and for the settlement of disputes between employers and workers. Kautilya never recommended slave labor. Kautilya had laid down a code of labor discipline. He says, Udyame nasti daridryam japyato nasti patakam. As said in this verse, a hardworking person will never go hungry. An employee who works hard is sure to reach heights, because Chanakya believed that he can make his way through all the hardships. He also discusses the workload that is to be given to the employees. He says, Atibhara purusham avasadayati, meaning excessive workload kills the potential of an employee. He does not advocate excessive workload. Then he talks about trade and foreign trade. He tried to organize the foreign trade of that era. Well before WTO, he clearly understood the advantages of foreign trade and strongly encouraged it by saying that foreign trade must be beneficial to all countries involved. He favored free trade and believed that the state should create mechanisms to protect and promote commercial activities. But somehow he does not trust traders because of their profit-oriented approach maybe. For Chanakya, economics comes with values. That means he believed in ethical economic practices. He suggested the idea of two kinds of touchstones. One which overestimates the quality of the gold sold to the public, and the other which underestimates the quality when bought. But we see that the same practice is being followed in the gold market today. If you go to Paytm and you try to sell your gold there, you will get less value. And when you have to buy, you will have to pay more price. And we see that the practices given by him are still existing. Next idea is role of public and private sector. The idea of state welfare has been coined by Kautilya when he says, in the happiness of the king's subjects lies his happiness. That means the king can be happy only if the subject is happy, only if he works for the welfare of the subject. Hence, king's economic welfare lies in his subjects' economic welfare. What is the role of private sector? Kautilya's concept of state is founded on industrial edifice. According to him, there are guiding principles for the state. The state should undertake those industries which help directly in making the nation self-sufficient and self-reliant. The activities related to farming, spinning and weaving, arts and craft should be left to the individuals, and the right of the ownership should be recognized. And see, exactly this is what we did at the time of independence. At the time of independence, the government took charge of all the essential activities and only the basic working was left in the hands of the individuals. He also states that the activities relating to production, distribution and consumption are carried out efficiently or not, this is also the responsibility of the state. The duties of men, women, saints and sages, lords and the kings used to be clearly defined so that their observance may help in achieving the objectives. In addition to the above function, the state regulated the wages and working condition of the workers and helped the farmers in times of calamities. Chanakya also talks about the sources of revenue for the state. He says the Rajkar, and Rajkar used to be the most important source of revenue of the state. He says the king should act like the honeybee, which collects honey without inconveniencing the plant. Taxes were the remuneration for the services rendered by the king as a public functionary for providing internal security to his subjects. Kautilya suggested forced loans for meeting deficit budgets. He divided income from taxes into three parts. Income from taxes on commodities produced in the country, income from taxes on commodities produced in the capital, and third is income from taxes imposed on imports and exports. He regulated heavy taxes on the importation of luxury goods because the policy of the state was to discourage the import of luxury goods and those which were harmful for the welfare of the state. Kautilya also suggested an efficient audit system for the economic machinery. Next economic idea is public finance. Sources of revenue included taxes on land, forest, monopoly and property, customs and excise duties, fines, profits of state, factories and crown monopolies from manufacture and sale of saffron, salt, intoxicants, trade in horses, fine wool and elephants and port dues, road tolls, fruit and tree tax, etc. Similarly, public expenditure included public administration, defense, salaries of ministers, government departments, maintenance of national storehouses and granaries, and acquisition of valuable ornaments, gems and precious stones. Whatever amount was left unused was deposited either with the treasury or the war chest. Next economic idea is consumption and production. For consumption purposes, family was regarded as an economic unit. Each and every individual was a subordinate to the family or the community. As far as production was concerned, the four agents of production, namely land, labor, capital and organization were recognized. Land was considered as the main source of wealth. Moreover, the state was responsible for the economic prosperity of the people, and we see that land, labor and capital, these three are still considered to be the factors of production for any organization. So all the four factors given by Chanakya are still relevant in today's corporate world. Apart from these economic ideas, Chanakya also worked on the loans and interest rate. He discussed the issues of types of loans, factors affecting interest rates, methods of calculating interest rate, and the circumstances when interest may not be collected. Kautilya believed it is the king's job to manage the economy.